at DevNexus. This is day 2 on the conference, and I'm really happy to have Ray with me here. And we were already discussing a little bit about his session, and it seems to be all about Kubernetes. Well, not all about, but he will tell us.
Yeah, so my session was shifting left with Kubernetes. I have a passion for software engineering, for delivering software. Why do we write software? To deliver it, right? It's to be delivered. A business can make some money off of it. Whatever the case may be, they're going to sell their product. We've got to be able to deliver software. So for probably about the past 10 or 12 years, I've really been focusing on the cultural dynamic within an organization on how to deliver software so that everybody kind of gets along and there's good tension and not bad tension. And Kubernetes has really become kind of, for me, the driver for that now, because now everybody can have their production environment or production-like environment right on your workstation.
Yes, exactly. Yes. You don't have to imagine what is this will like to.
That's right.
You can have something clear or more tangible closer to you, to your developer environment.
That's correct. That's correct.
The phrase that you started is that why are we developing software? Because we want to deliver it. I love it. And sometimes developers don't see it so clearly as you do. Mm-hmm. So what made you create this session?
Well, I think it's because so I've been dealing with this. Kubernetes intrigued me right when it first came out, right? And so I said, I think this will be something kind of cool. But as I learned about it more, what I realized in terms of talking to developers, I said, we really can make your job easier, right? If you just learn this little incremental step here, we'll automate some of this stuff. We can make your job easier so that when things get down the pipeline, it's not going to be perfect, but we're not going to keep having to come back to us, having to keep coming back and redoing this because we didn't think of this, we didn't think of that. And so it's really about the engineering process and getting it all started as soon as possible in the chain.
Yes, as you said, shifting left, and not only shifting left, but it's shortened our feedback loops, so we don't have this context change, and we can actually react faster. And those huge features that probably were out of date by the time they see the light, maybe you can be more productive and more in point to what your users want.
I agree, and I do think containerization in Kubernetes. I've worked for product companies as well as companies that do in-house software. Either way, they're developing software to make money, right? And so the issue is that now introducing tools like this can make the organization more nimble. You can get that feature out the door more quickly. You can respond to the market more quickly because you're doing everything from the left all the way through. And I do, especially when I work for companies that deliver products, sold products, I would walk around and say, what are you doing for our customer today? Right? And that they could tell me, well, I'm delivering this feature so that we can get this thing out the door, by the end of the quarter or whatever the date happens to be.
Yeah, and I totally agree with you. In the past, doing a release, publishing something, it was kind of an effort, an art. Yeah. There was this person, the mythical know-it-all, that was the only one that knew what dials, how.
That's right.
And now, even though, as I like to say, as developer engineers, DevOps engineers, it's not that you are going to have the credentials to publish into the production environment, because no ops engineer is going to give me that power.
And I don't want it. I don't want it. Put you in the audit trail. Anyway,
there are some days where I
suppose. Okay, I'll give you that.
But anyway, but they're still not going to give it to me. But it's good that I at least will have a taste for it.
Right. Well, I think too, because you've been deploying to the same type of environment locally, that when they describe the problem, maybe send you some log files, like, okay, I know what that looks like. It's not a foreign set of log files, it's not a foreign set of metrics, because you've dealt with those log files, those metrics from the beginning. And so it contributes to, I call this a team sport. It contributes to the team solving problems. And I think that you talk about production. That's the thing, is that you should be able to to visualize production without being there, because you see it every step of the way until it gets there.
So for me, I see it as a developer because my job title is usually, and my hat is developer. I'm a core Java developer. But then when all this DevOps started to happen, people were like, oh my God, now it's more about security. Now I have to be an ops engineer, a security engineer, and a security expert. And suddenly you feel like, oh my God. But no, actually it's not all that. It's also learning how to talk with different other teams of the organization that are taking this narrative until you are deployed.
That's correct. And especially if you're in an agile shop, right? If you can get a representative from DevOps on your team, at least as a chicken, if you will, that's monitoring. Says, okay, no, I see what's coming, or no, we don't want to do it this way. You're working as a team. I'm an engineer myself. I've coded in Java for a long time, but this stuff really intrigued me because I can see, first of all, it's just more software, right?
Yes.
It's just more software, but it intrigued me because now I can feel like I'm part of really the end result.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
We see that ability to see it at the end. It's amazing.
Yep.
I mean, I think as a developer, I was missing that.
Yeah, I think too. It takes a certain type of developer to get into it, right? I mean, I was many years ago. I was the developer that used to like to write the install shield scripts, right? And so, back when we installed things off a CD. So you got to have that mindset. You really like to deal with that kind of detail. But most organizations, you're going to have folks on your teams that are really going to get into this.
And actually, that's the whole point of having very, very rich and diverse teams. That you have the core developers that are super specialized. Like they are gurus in their, like, for example, performance and we need those kind of people that are super focused, super specialized. But also you need people that are curious in other areas of the development process. And how do we actually, in either way, enable them to understand the entire process? How do we help them?
Well, it's a good question, and I think you have to do it in spoonfuls, because developers will say, you've mentioned it, I have to be security, now I've got to be this, now I've got to be DevOps, I've got to be everything. Okay, well, maybe, but first of all, with Kubernetes, it can be intimidating. Right, so I'm a fan of a lot of upfront tooling. I have an open source project I put out there, talked about in my presentation, that allows you to build a Kubernetes cluster very quickly and start developing against it with a registry and Helm chart repo and everything all built in without really knowing anything about Kubernetes. Yeah. Right, so that way developers can start using Kubernetes and learning it, as they become more interested. And I think whether it be Kubernetes or security or whatever it is a matter of just, you're not going to dump everything on people. Will be overwhelmed. And so just little by little, gradually, and then you'll find the stars that are going to come up and say, man, this is really cool, I like this.
Exactly, and for me, I also call it a win when we start learning new vocabulary, because that makes the conversations with the other teams more meaningful.
Right.
When we stop using like that thingy and the other thingy and something, when you use the proper names, then things get better faster.
They do, and compromise happens.
Exactly.
Right, and say, oh, now I understand why you need this that way, and there could be an engineer to a DevOps engineer, and a DevOps engineer to a developer saying, now I get why you need it this way.
And it's so painful for you. Let me help you.
That's right. Exactly. It's a great aspect of team. In the conference, the first session was all on soft skills. This is where soft skills really come into play, right? Because you're working with all the disciplines. You've got your product owners, you've got your DevOps people, you've got your DBAs, you've got all these people involved. It takes a lot of soft skills to keep everybody together and realize, we're going to argue a little bit, but we're all on the same team here.
Yes, I totally agree with you. So now I'm very curious about catching a recording of your session, because you touch all the keywords that I love. Like, we do this to deliver software. We have to collaborate. We have, so much. much I want to see your session now.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I've really enjoyed it. I've enjoyed. It's been a while since post-COVID. Now everybody's at conferences. It's great to see people. Great to rub shoulders.
We needed that.
We did, and it's been really nice.
For me, you can get technical content out there. Like we built a network for that. But this experience of talking to people the whole way track, it is what makes conferences amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. And it also gives you an opportunity to, in a presentation like that, to see, am I on the right track? Right, do people understand this? Do people think it's good? And it seemed to be well received. And so that's how you get a sense. It's that real person touch that you really kind of get the confirmation that you're on the right track.
Yeah, I agree with you, because we're human beings writing code for human beings. Because I mean, we spend more time reading code than writing code. Yeah. And then the whole purpose is to deliver software that improves human life.
Right.
So the human factor in software developer is alive and kicking.
Yep. And you can still be a geek in code at the same time.
Of course. We can geek out any day of the week.
That's right.
Ray, thank you very much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
I totally enjoyed, and I will look for your session, for sure.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.